Lenovo's X1 Yoga for 2018 is now available, and I have my hands on one to review, which I'm using to write this article. Lenovo sometimes provide me with a laptop for review purposes, but that's not the case for this particular one. Initially, it looks and feels rather similar to the Gen 2, which I reviewed not that long ago. There are differences, but the jump from Gen 2 greater than 3 isn't as big as Gen 1 greater than 2 was. I'd like to think that's because they got things pretty right with the Gen 2, and there wasn't as much to change. First, let's check out the tech specs. I'll bold the options this particular laptop has in the table below. Although often there's little difference between each generation of CPU, there's actually a big difference this time. If you look at the Intel spec sheet, the core count has doubled from 2 to 4, along with the thread count of 4 to 8. The single-core clock speed is lower, down from 2.60 GHz to 1.90 GHz, but the max turbo frequency is the slightly higher at 3.60 GHz rather than the older 3.50 GHz. What does this all mean? It depends, but overall it's probably a lot better. Single-threaded programs might be a bit slower, but these days if it's single-threaded it's probably old and anything modern is more than fast enough for it. Multi-threaded programs will go substantially faster. Here's a benchmark comparison with some figures to demonstrate that. Of course, multitasking with many different programs should be a faster experience too. I would have loved to have seen that high-end display, but the base level one is more than enough still. HDR, Dolby Vision, and other high-end settings. I need to see this. If you want this laptop to last you years, go the 16 GB. 8 GB is still plenty, but we're getting closer to 16 GB being the standard. For general use, you still probably won't hit the 8 GB limit, unless you have a lot of Chrome tabs open. Like the new little shutter that's built in. You see a red dot when it's closed, and the switch to open it is very small and unobtrusive. As always, pick what you think you'll need. It's nice and fast. Nothing's changed here. Same weight within a few grams as the last few models. It's not a feather, but it's light enough. Yes, this one is black, but it's a bit different. The entire shell is a slightly glossier black than the matte black the last few models have had. The hinges are now black too, which fits in a bit nicer with the black body. There's also the new X1 logo on the lid and the Lenovo branding on the bottom left of the display, all of which I think looks good. It's branding without being in your face. Same as the last generation, a big 15-hour claim and 12 hours just from an hour charge. I haven't sat down and tested this, and another review I found claimed a bit under 8 hours, which is slightly under the average, but of course it depends on what you do. The fingerprint reader is a little smaller now, but works the same. Still USB-C charging, which is great, but we seem to have lost one of the USB 3 ports on the left-hand side. The device supports Microsoft Autopilot, which is good for anyone who wants to set this up on their Azure/Office 365 tenant and send devices out without needing to actually do anything to them. There's the new Cortana Premium, which makes the device pick up voice commands better and from a distance or different angles. The stylus is the same too, which is still a mid-size rapid charging pen that does the job well. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos.